Okay then folks, so today, yes indeed, we are talking about the traditional tool belt. I've had a few requests, people asking me to show what I currently use on my traditional tool belt. So here we are. We'll start right at the front. We've got the Moerman side kit pouch. This is the brand new one. We'll leave a link at the top of the screen there for you for the review of this new Moerman side kit pouch. There's a few differences between this one and the previous one, which I've actually got on just behind me here, but we'll get to that in just a second. So yes, indeed, we've got the Moerman side kit pouch, which holds 2 bottles, one for water, one for soap. We have 2 compartments for dry and wet cloths. We also have a pouch at the front and a pouch at the back to hold things like your bronze wool, steel wool, keys, money, phone, anything like that. This has got you covered. It's also got a little slot in there. You can use a small scraper perhaps, or business cards in there, and a couple of pens. So that is at the front. It's like a Scottish sporran. If you know what a sporran is, it's nicely easy accessible at the front. So when you're working on windows, you've got what you need at the front of you. Try it out. It might seem a bit alien at first, but I highly recommend it. It's very useful. Coming around to the right hand side, we have the Moerman bucket on a belt. So it's got 2 squeegee holders. And I also keep with me a small 6-inch applicator. This one's actually from Unger. It's one of the only few ones I could find of people that did a 6-inch applicator. So we've got that one in there because I do a lot of small little sort of 6 to 7-inch windows on some of my residential jobs. So it's quite handy to have that. Further around, if I just give you a twirl, we've got the tool belt holder here. So we have the sill cleaning squeegee, which is just a regular blade, nothing fancy, just something to pull that solution off of the framework at the bottom when I'm finished squeegeeing. We have the homemade Moerman 6-inch liquidator. I'll leave a link at the top of the page to that as well and how I made that one. So we've got that one there. Now if we spin all the way around to the back, you'll see this is the previous Moerman pouch, the previous Moerman side kit. Now there's a few differences between this one and the latest one. The pouch goes across the way, the divider in the middle. So basically there's a pocket nearest my body which carries the smooth microfiber cloth. That's for leaded glass, stickers, anything like that. That goes nearest to me. And say for instance I've got some wet cloths and I'm finished with it, I can then put that in the furthest away compartment when I'm done. So when I go back to the van, I know all my wet cloths are behind me in this compartment here. I take them out, chuck them in the van and stick in some fresh ones in the front. Also in the back, that's quite often where I put my van keys. So as soon as I've locked up the vehicle, I chuck my keys in there. I don't really keep much in the zip pouch, which is on the back of the pouch there. I don't really put anything in there, to be honest, very often. Coming over to the left hand side, we've got another Moerman bucket on a belt. Now I'll explain to you in just a wee minute why I've got 2 of them, but the main reason why we've got this one here is to hold the 14-inch applicator, which is a very standard size for most window cleaners, and this is the main one that I use on most windows. We then have a 12 and an 8-inch squeegee. Now some of these sizes aren't available to buy, you might have to make your own, but it's very simple to make your own sizes of squeegee. It's very, very simple. If you watch the Moerman 6-inch video, how to make that, you'll get the gist on how to make any size of channel that you require. So that is us back to the front, but there's something we haven't actually talked about, which is the actual belt itself, which is a Makita tool belt. We'll leave a link in the description below to where you can get this belt, but it only costs around about £14 or something like that roughly to buy. It's a quick release system, very strong, rigid belt. This one's lasted me about 4 years. Now the only downside to it is that as time wears on, you will find that the Velcro that holds, when you've adjusted the straps to your size, the Velcro that holds it together eventually wears off. So what you will need to do over a few years of use is just put 1 tie wrap on each side to hold that Velcro together. And then after that, it's as good as gold. So you could probably pick maybe a black tie wrap as opposed to a white one. It might blend in a bit better. I just found a white one lying around, so just chucked it on. I'm not too fussed about being color coordinated, but there you have it. So that's held together nicely. Now, the reason that we have 2 buckets on a belt, right? First reason, I need a lot of squeegees. A lot of the jobs I'm on have a huge and vast array of different shapes and sizes to contend with. So the biggest one I have is a 16-inch channel. This one is also made by myself. Moerman don't sell a 16-inch at the moment, so you'll have to make your own one if you fancy this kind of size. So I've got a 16-inch there, but it's also in an accelerator handle. Now the reason for that is that if I'm on any commercial jobs, which I don't really have many of, but if I do, or any jobs that I have with really deep, thick frames, I can pop it into 10 degrees, which is nearly flat, and close out on the windows nicely, because normally the big windows are the ones with the big chunky frames, commercial style that is. The rest of them are all on liquidator handles. Now, I've actually bent these back to around about 10 degrees. Normally the blade sits about there. I bent mine back to around about 10 degrees, which helps me close out on windows a lot easier. I wish they actually made them in 10 degrees to start with, because it's basically, there aren't many windows you can't do if it's closer to 0 degrees, but there's a lot of windows you can't do the further round the handle goes, the steeper the angle. There are some windows that you just can't close out on properly. So having it at a very almost 0 angle allows you to close out on basically any window that you require. So that is basically the traditional window cleaning belt, guys. So there you have it, one pouch at the front, one pouch at the back, one pouch for clean cloths, dry cloths, one pouch for wet and a smooth microfiber. We've also got the applicators there, 2 different sizes, plenty of squeegees. And the other reason I found as well, was quite handy for having 2 buckets on a belt, is for my longer channels. If I was, right, I'll swap this around for a second. If you only have 1 bucket on a belt, say it's this one here on the right, I want you to pretend this isn't here, okay? This one on the right, say we only had 1. We've got a 14-inch applicator, or perhaps maybe an 18. If you put that in there, eventually the water and the soap can build up on a job. And then particularly with these squeegees, when you pull out a long channel blade, so something around about 14, 16, 18, 22 perhaps, something like that, anything that can reach down to the bottom of your bucket and a belt, it ends up absolutely getting covered in soap in this channel here. So basically by doing what I've done, which is put the long applicator in the bucket and the belt with the short squeegees, and then the long squeegees, we have the short applicator. So therefore the squeegees at the bottom are not getting touched by soap. You see what I'm saying? So basically this applicator here is not going to hold quite so much water. The water's not going to build up so quickly, and these longer squeegees aren't going to get clarted and covered in soapy water. So when I come to blade the window, it hasn't got a heap of suds stuck in the back of the channel that then bleed out onto the glass. And the same with this one. Even though this is the longer applicator, because these are shorter squeegees, they don't reach down here, and again, they don't get clarted and covered in soapy suds. So that is the reason. And you may think, for some people that might be a bit of overkill, but I guarantee you I use absolutely everything on this belt all the time, every single job. So there isn't anything here I don't use. Okay guys, so it's actually very light, it's very comfortable to wear. Just the last job I was at, I was jumping over walls and fences and all that, yes, and even in the kilt, and nothing fell out, everything was fine, nothing got in the way. So although it may, to you, if you're used to 1 bucket on a belt, look rather cumbersome, believe you me, it is very comfortable and very easy to get around. The only thing I would be careful of is if you're squeezing down for instance, a wall, and there's a car there as well, a small gap, just be wary, you've got handles sticking out there and there. So sometimes what I do is bring my bucket and a belt in like that to the front, and then squeeze down the narrow passageway like that. But apart from that, that is the only issue you may need to be aware of if you set up your traditional belt like so. So hopefully that has been of interest and have been of use to you today, folks, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll see you in the next video. You take care, be good, and bye for now.